Howdy. I have this Finnish copper playlist on my channel. There are several videos, I think 16 or something. 21! Huh. It's about the copper in Finland, obviously. And as you can see in this one, or in this little series where I started off, it should have been a hexology, 6 videos about the subject, but it expanded. And it still expands, maybe not in video form for YouTube, but I'm working on the same theme in a different way, which is rather silent usually. Writing. And this also includes reading. And I'm making research about Kalevala and how it could be related to geological occurrences here and stuff like that. And obviously, as this Finnish copper playlist tells you, it's about copper in Finland. So now let me read to you the Kalevala, which is an Oxford World's Classics. This is a version which has some 700 pages or something. And we are on page 14. So page 14 is really at the beginning of a 600-page book. But just listen. Out of the sea, a man rose. A fellow came up from the billow. He was not big as big goes, nor all that small as small goes, but as tall as a man's thumb, as high as a woman's span. Copper was the hat on his shoulders, copper the boots on his feet, copper mittens on his hands, copper the patterns on the mittens, copper the belt round his waist, copper the axe at his belt, its handle tall as a thumb, blade high as a fingernail. Steady old Väinämöinen thinks and considers. It is a man by his looks, a fellow by appearance, as tall as an upright thumb, and as high as an ox hoof. Then he put this into words, he uttered, declared, "What sort of man are you? Wretch, which sort of fellow? Little better than a corpse, or fairer than a dead man." The small man from the sea said, the billow fellow answered, "I am quite a man, a small fellow from the water folk. I have come to break the oak." For those who don't know, the oak is the tree which keeps the firmament, like, the pillar of the heavens, which I think is the Berkland current, which has been very much amplified. So, which is in the northern lights, polar lights, the firefox. "I have come to break the oak, to shatter the brittle tree." Steady old Väinämöinen put this into words. "I do not think you were made neither, made nor appointed, to be the great oak's breaker, to be the grim tree's feller." He just managed to say that. He glances once more. He saw the man change, the fellow renewed. His foot stamps upon the ground, his head holds the clouds, his beard goes over his knee, and his hair beyond his heels. A fathom between his eyes, fathom wide his trousers leg, 1.5 from his knee, 2 from his breeches border. He fingers his axe, he sharpened the even blade upon 6 wet stones, on the tip of 7 hones, and he swings along, whistles on his way, in his white trousers and in his broad breeches. He stepped once nimbly upon the fine sand, twice rambled along, upon the liver-hued ground a third time ambled. The liver-hued ground. I would say it's peat. Yeah, Finland in Finnish means Suomi, and suo means wetlands, in other words, peat. It's one of the peach richest countries in the world. So there's a lot of it here. Up to the fiery oak's root, he struck the tree with his axe, bashed it with his even blade. He struck once, struck twice, soon a third time tried. Fire flashes from the axe, and the blaze flew from the oak, and the oak wanted to tilt, the world sallow to topple. So, at the third time, he could fell the oak, and shatter the world sallow, and bring down the 100-leaved. So before I will read the next 4 lines, I want to go quickly to the first, or to my first ever paper I wrote, because I'm writing a part 2 of that paper, which is plate tectonic issues, the influence of electricity in rock forming processes, and a coherent connection between science, mythology, and history of Finland. Sea pinch stone, and the dragon, the Chinese dragon. There is written quite a bunch of things here. There's also pictures. I really like pictures. I will put a link below. You can take a look at that paper, and I recommend you to read. I know there are several writing mistakes and stuff, but hope you get over that. English is not my mother's tongue. What to do? So this is also one thing I try to do better in the paper I'm making at the moment. And all these things are related to what we just heard, what I just tried to read. I have been talking about the craters here in this paper, and I will talk about craters once again in the paper I'm making of, because I learned new things. I've discovered new things. And the good thing is, they don't contradict at all to what I have already said. Yeah, sometimes it's almost creepy. You know, you find something and then you take it in and you realize that, whoa, that's basically a missing piece of something I was about to investigate, or I was investigating and making research about and trying to find things which relate to, and then you find something. Sometimes they come out of the blue, sometimes you stumble across things. I tend to stumble across things for some reason. And it's really amazing. But, yeah, we have molten metal on top of rocks. This time I said it correctly in the first try. But magnetic anomalies in Finland. There are many small magnetic anomalies in Finland, but one overshines them all. The Kursk magnetic anomaly. Yeah, I don't know. Since I wrote this, I think probably this other, or this bigger part of the Kursk magnetic anomaly, which stretches down to the Krim Islands, Crimea. Yeah, there's stuff going on there. But anyway, it's a rather big structure, and it's very, very hard to find some maps or whatsoever which would show the whole thing. It's just somehow they're not existent. So you have to patch them together. If you find something, you have to figure out how it fits in there, because if it belongs to that topic, it fits in. It's just the way how you figured out how. But anyway, it stretches from Norway through Sweden and Finland down to Russia. There is an obvious C shape visible in the magnetic anomaly map, which I will show you in a second, which resembles a sea pinch. It has several not straightly connected positive regions which are named. One of them is the Oku anomaly. And by now, I'm not really. I still try to figure out if they are like positively charged or negatively charged, or is it just the amount of conductivity, or you know. But anyway, it's under construction, the whole thing. Outokumpu, you have seen, like, you know, the videos where I have been in Outokumpu. I actually have, some time ago, I have been within the strange hill itself. I didn't manage yet to make a video, but I have been inside the mountain. Yeah. Oku is short for Outokumpu, which is very close here. I'm basically living between the plasma rocks and Outokumpu. Man. It has a story as a mining town. It has once been one of Europe's most important copper mines. No, I don't tell this now, but just went through my mind. Because let's stick to research. The old mine is quite likely a fulgurite because of its form, so it comes as no surprise that the name Outokumpu translated into English means something like strange hill. It stands out of the surrounding landscape, so it being a fulgurite or a giant blister, much like the Koli area, it is the reason for the mining operations in the first place. No one had to search for it since it is towering the area. So that's the map I have been wondering about since I found it. And I found that map because I noticed some repetitive weather pattern. Yeah. I was watching the clouds on windy, and I was watching the clouds outside. And I noticed something. And then I tried to figure out what could possibly do something like that. And I am pretty sure it is this thing here. So, we have latitudes and altitudes here. So we have to say that it is, in a way, not really aligned perfectly 90 degrees to whatever, you know. It is a little bit off center. It doesn't matter, because the precession of the equinoxes and stuff, you know, the Earth's axis is wobbling. Probably it has been wobbling much more in the past. Earth has been tilting over probably many times in the past. Not only did the magnetic poles shift, but also the axis of the whole planet flipped over. Sunny back-off effect, tennis racket effect. But it is more or less, in a way, you can see it from left to right. Let's say it like that. Now let me read the last 4 lines of this 700-page book. Now let's just figure out how many pages it has. Yeah, it's a little bit. 669. There's probably some more. But anyway, yeah, you cannot do anything else than watch this picture, what you have in front of you. But I read now the book. The base of the tree. He was felling the tree. Remember? Which is in a way something like a Birkeland current, I assume, or something. The base he thrust to the east. The top he lowered northwest. This goes eastwards, and this is going northwest. The foliage to the great south, the bows halfway northward. So maybe some of you might remember that I have been saying that I think this surface conductivity anomaly in Finland might be that the magnetosphere of Earth got so squeezed that the polar cusps touched the ground of the Earth and left the imprint. The geomagnetic cusps, magnetic topology, and physical processes. Yeah, this doesn't really work. Well, this just does things on its own, but it doesn't matter. The polar cusps are up here. And they go into Earth. The Parkland currents, which are connecting us to the Sun and the rest of the universe. And if we go on, I will put a link below down to this. You can check it out. But I wanted to show you one picture. This one. Man. Cusp reconnection. In situ spacecraft observations. So this is... that's a picture from the polar cusps. And polarity, I guess. And in my opinion, the surface conductivity anomaly represents in a way the same pattern as the polar cusps, which is not at all contradictory to my claim. So, if the Birkeland current with the polar cusps came down to Earth, it might have been quite a spectacle. And it formed many things, reformed many things. And this is just something I found really interesting. Reading the Kalevala, there's copper mentioned so many times. And I have been reading this tree-felling story. I have several different Kalevalas. Today my wife was reading me one of this kind of old-school Finnish Kalevala, some kind of original version from Lönnrot. A rather short version of the whole thing. There's not, this 700-page book. This version of the Kalevala is much longer because there was really little books. Actually, I could show this to you. So now that's my thumb, and so this is a very small book, and it has very small text. Tyven työnny till itähän, latvan laski luoteeseen. Lehvät suurehen suvehen, oksat vuolin pohjoiseen. Eastern and northwest. Yeah, that's from the same book. There is another version. That's also Finnish. Here to here. Tyven työnyti itähän, latvan laski luoteheesen. Lehvät suurehen suvehen, oksat puolin pohjoiseen. So how they describe what happened when the heavenly pillar, the Birkeland current, in a way collapsed for whatever reason. Too much or too less energy, but it wasn't stable anymore. And I think there was quite some things going on with dragons coming out of the water and stuff falling from the sky and other things burning. But I think it's very important to recognize that the directions are basically correct. according to the surface conductivity alignment. Yeah, I have been in the mine, within the mountain. There is this kind of old museum from stuff they have been doing there. And this is how it looked. It was rather difficult to take pictures because there isn't really light in there. Very interesting patterns in the rocks. And since we are in a copper mountain, you have to expect something like this too. Unfortunately, it was a rainy weekend or something. There has been rain, which is not very usual here in recent years, because it's bone dry very often. Because I would have liked to go there when it's bone dry, because I really wanted to know if there's any water coming out anywhere. But it was raining, so I wasn't too surprised to see this kind of things. But on the other hand, it might take quite a while in order for these things to form. Yeah, basic mineralization, water evaporating, stuff like that going on. And it's fascinating. I would like to know if there's like always water in there. In other words, is there a well inside the mountain? The story of the mountain keeper. The name Outokumpu means in English a mysterious strange hill. Yeah, this is in the mountain. I should have taken a picture of this mountain keeper because there has been this kind of figure. Long before the ore was discovered, the villagers told stories of strange things happening on the hill and named the hill as Outokumpu, the strange hill. The tales told about the mountain keeper who was burning mold off from his golden underground treasures, and because of that, strange fires could be seen over the hill. Yeah, electrical plasma phenomena. It is all very interesting. So now I try to go back to writing. I haven't been writing for 2 days or something because there was a time of taking in, making research, because, there's so many things I'm writing about. But it really, I cannot complain at all. It's not boring. Yeah, that will be quite a thing. And I try to get it somehow together. And it's part 2. And I have already been thinking that, yeah, if I make a part 2, I maybe have to make a part 3. So let's see, there's probably some things which I will leave out of that paper, which will come probably in another one. But it's very interesting. Yeah, anyway. Thanks. Bye.